You may think that once the narcissist discarded you, or once they forced you to leave just through their intense devaluation, that was the end of it, that you wouldn't see them again, that they wouldn't come back. Because that's the impression they leave you with. They leave you with the impression that they couldn't care less about you, that you don't matter to them, that you're worthless. And they basically shatter you into pieces emotionally before they end up giving you that final discard, or before you finally end up leaving just to maintain your sanity, or whatever was left of it anyway. But the thing is, even once the narcissist has left your life, they're never really gone for good, because they have this dire need for control over you, in a sense that they need to know how you're doing. They need to know what you're up to. They need to know, perhaps most importantly, that you are still distraught and devastated, that you haven't really bounced out of whatever, dark place they would have left you in. Because when narcissists leave you, they need to make sure that you're never doing better than they are. They need to make sure that you don't recover and all of a sudden become super happy without them. Because narcissists can never become super happy. They can never really have positive things going for them. And they need to make sure that you're in a worse position than them. And that's the whole purpose of the heavy devaluation and the discard. The way they play that out is to really keep you in such a dark place, such a hurt place for so long that, at least for the foreseeable future, they don't have to worry about you bouncing out of that and doing better than them. So when narcissists stalk you, when they keep tabs on you, whether it's through social media, putting flying monkeys in your life, maybe you have friends in common or they know your family who they manage to get information out of. Sometimes they'll even physically stalk you, kind of observing you from a distance, witnessing you. It does give them that sense of control. So sometimes, they resort to these methods to feel some element of control. And it's when the narcissist sees or gets evidence that you're doing well, that you're happy again, that you're not wanting them back in your life, that you have things going on for yourself, that the narcissist gets triggered. Because in their head, you cannot ever do better than them. You cannot be happier than them. And they worked really hard to achieve that. And they stalk you to make sure that that dynamic continues to play itself out, that they are doing better than you. But when they see that you are doing well and things are going well for you, that triggers them. And then they feel they need to act on it. They feel they need to balance things back out. Because narcissists don't like not having the privileges. When there's something good going on in your life, when you have good things going on, they want a part of the action. They want a piece of the good stuff that you have going on. They want to be in a privileged position with respect to those things. They don't want to be just an insignificant bystander. They want to be someone who can benefit from anything good that goes on in your life. And the fact that you two have drifted apart, they discarded you, or you left them to save yourself, the fact that you're no longer together, which also means that they're not in a privileged position to your life. They can't take part in whatever's going on in your life. It makes them feel irrelevant. And narcissists hate feeling irrelevant. They hate feeling insignificant. They hate feeling like they're not important. And that's the position you put them in when you start doing well and they're not a part of your life. They feel like they are just worthless, and all those childhood wounds of the narcissist start getting triggered, because narcissists have these wounds that led them to becoming the person they are. And all of a sudden, it's like you're the only person standing between them feeling like crap or them feeling better. So that's when they start thinking about whether or not they might want to hoover you. They might want to bring you back into their life. Because, you coming back into their life, or, even if it's just a short period, because if you ever do entertain a hoover of the narcissist, it's usually very short-lived before they put you back into a very dark place again, which could last months or years. That's what narcissists are good at. They're good at putting people down to feel better about themselves. But if you were to entertain the Hoover, then of course they would make sure that you're in a, they put you right back where they did the first time around, but hopefully this time worse, because they need to make sure that you don't recover so easily. They need to make sure that you are devastated for a long, long time, so that they can get the good supply from that, and that you're not a threat to them. But the thing about the Hoover is, narcissists, even though they'll often entertain the Hoover, they don't always immediately Hoover you. And the Hoover can take many forms. Sometimes they just start off testing the waters, and sometimes they'll, take it to the next step and just reach out, sending you a message. Because depending how things ended between you two, then it's not always that easy for the narcissist to Hoover. Because sometimes, depending on what people say to each other, they know that there's a risk that you might ignore them, that you might not respond. So that risk sometimes prevents them from reaching out. But they're always thinking about it. They're always thinking very carefully how they can most likely succeed with the Hoover. And that's why they stalk you. They data gather on you. They gather intel to know, if you are likely to entertain them, and if there's any particular avenue they can explore to make it most likely to succeed. But sometimes, even if they're not reaching out, even if they have observed you and they're not reaching out, and they know you're doing well, narcissists do, when they'll obsessively think about you, because they ruminate. Narcissists will ruminate. They can't get you out of their minds. And the fact that they're obsessively thinking about you, sometimes that mental energy, it's almost like you can pick up on it. You can really kind of sense that, this person is, that they've got something going on in their heads. I'm in this person's head. So, like, it just shows that they never really leave you alone once they go. Once the narcissist leaves, it's because they're convinced that you're not doing well without them, that you won't do well without them, that they're doing better. They've gotten good supply from you throughout the process. Now they're going to discard you. And in their minds, you're just going to stay in that very dark place forever. Or at least that's what they hope. But as soon as you start doing well, it triggers them, and they really feel they want to take part in whatever good stuff you have in your life, because they don't like feeling insignificant. They don't like feeling irrelevant. And when you're doing well, that's exactly how they feel. And they want the privileges of having a privileged place in your life. And all of a sudden you find yourself in the position which is that you're the only person who can save them from themselves. In a sense, like you're the only person who can fix that negative place the narcissist now finds themselves in. Because if you entertain the Hoover, if you decide to go back, if you become vulnerable again, all of a sudden they'll feel superior and control all that again. But if you don't do that, then they stay in this dark place where they're irrelevant, unimportant, and it's almost like they stay there perpetually. It's really, really hard for them to get out of that. And it's even with new supplies, sometimes it's only very momentary distractions that they can get out of that place. So yeah, just know that when you end things, or when things end between you and the narcissist, they don't simply go away, even though that's the impression they leave you with at the beginning, because they make you feel like you're unimportant, that they don't need you anymore, all that stuff. They do keep tabs on you. They do observe, and they do have this tendency to ruminate sometimes, quite heavily. And that's why you should never be surprised if they make a reappearance back into your life, if they Hoover, or if there's certain coincidences that start happening to you that suggest that maybe they're behind it. It's probably them, because they don't simply go away. It's just not in their nature. It's just not how they're built.